Hello everybody, welcome back. Here we are for round one of this Legacy Daily against Valaro, or Valro. Our opponent is here and we have a first turn library, Pride Mage. This is a actually very good hand, so we're going to go ahead and keep this. No mulligan intended. Now again, I haven't played Magic with much intention a lot recently. Okay, Darkmoor Salvage being played. Is this Dredge? Kind of a... Oh, well, that makes things a little bit easier. I'm going to go ahead and... I'm just going to get the Shaman out there. How do we want to do it? We'll do it off of this. There's the thought to wasting him next turn and having the mana to be able to move up, but I guess it doesn't really matter. He can't have days off of that, so yeah. All things aside, I'd say that's a decent turn. Oh wait, I did exactly what I said I was going to do. Bleh. So, depending on what we see, Putrid Imp. Yeah, that was a little expected. Go Dredge. The bad thing is that he does have the Imp already. Maybe Library would have been a better first turn play. We should be good to go. The debate right now is whether or not I waste him out. But I think I'll hold that for right now. We'll do it at an end of turn thing. That way we can get rid of that and move on with life. We should be fine in this matchup, though. I mean, we have a pulse if he goes zombies. We have 3 mana sources, so we should be okay in all fairness. Let's find out what he does, though. Nothing to pitch. Okay, so the end of this turn, we're most likely going to swords this and eat that land, and then move from there. Let's figure out what you're doing. Okay, now we're looking at swordsing this one. That's a blue mana source, not something I really want to have to deal with. This will at least give him something to think about and things that he can and cannot do. Yep. Your guy has flying. So, change of plans, we're now eating that. Still wasting this, most likely. We just need to keep dredgers out of the yard, or more important than the dredgers, the actual threat portions. The good news is that anything that he does, we can respond to. The bad news is that anything he does, we have to respond to. So we're tied up on mana right now. Let's find out what your plan is. But the good news is, careful study. Alright, so we're going to eat that creature, gain a little bit of life. There was the thought that I should have done this in combat. That would have been a smart play there. So his job right now is to either overload the graveyard with potential or find a way to deal with this, which right now Firestorm is really the only option. Ironically, we drew the 1-of. Granted, we could have Green Sun Zenith for it on turn 1, but we drew it, so be it. There is no ooze in the list anymore, those of you that may have been noticing. Okay, so there's a Zealot in the yard. We just have to make sure he stays off of stuff. I'd love to draw another mana. Another mana, and I could force his whole situation, and an Icarid. Okay, so 2 cards that I can eat. Neither of them are really all that important. We just have to keep his side down. If I draw another mana that produces white or green, possibly black. Well, if we fetch for green-black. That's the obvious fetch. But let's see what we get. We get a fetch. Alright, so we can force this situation, and that forces anything in his hand to come down now. Yeah, that's better than after he's drawn. He does not have a dredger in the yard. And we should be good for the most part. I mean, we can eat the Zealot to deal with zombies. Yeah, that spell I'm not as worried about. That's slightly annoying. Um, but he doesn't have anything in the yard that I'm really all too worried about. He's down to 2 cards in hand. This is such a weird thing to do. Like, there's no dredger in the yard, and that's the main thing. I'm going to go ahead and do that. We'll just get rid of that right there, and we'll move on with life. I mean, he doesn't have a discard outlet right now, so that's something to keep in mind. He's only got the 1 Cabal Therapy, and Naming Pulse isn't most likely going to be his thing, but there's always that possibility. Cephalid Coliseum. Alright, so he had no action. We're just going to go ahead and eat an Icarid. Exile creature. Give me Icarid. We can eat the Zealot at any point in time. But this lowers... I'd love another land here, actually. So, we're going to go get one. Cheaty face land. And we're still just going to hold back. The job right now is to just keep him off of things. If he goes to Threshold, we need to cut Threshold as best we can. Although we won't always be able to. That could be awkward. He could break through for 2 right now. Granted, there's nothing that he can play if he breaks through, if he does actually break through. All that stuff would go to the yard, so we'll get 2 activations from Shaman. Breakthrough for 1 does leave him with a possibility, though, but we should be able to react to things. Esper Charm does nothing. Stinkweed Imp. That is a real card. So let's think. We do want something to deal with that. Obviously, we want something to deal with that. Yeah, this card is a beating. Still not going to up the counts. But we will hold off on killing that. We're not in danger of it yet, from it yet, and there are still better things to eat, like these Icarids. You can't eat the bridges with the Shaman, so that is one thing that's kind of going against it. But we're plus 20 life. We're in no danger, and now we will have this. So we should be able to get some more mana and keep up on all of this. Kind of keep the threat level going is basically what it is. Activating Cabal Therapy, or stealing the Cabal Therapy last turn was probably the better play. But I did screw that up. And it's mainly because I'm not actually playing this deck correctly. When you have a deck that plays out of the graveyard, or that uses an alternate resource, it's best to be able to actually see what the heck you're doing. So if he doesn't kill this thing, we're going to 2 him. This is his end step, right? Yeah. Okay. So that'll take care of the Cabal Therapy. And we can go ahead and look what's top. That's really awkward. I guess we'll take the Eternal... No, what am I saying? The Eternal... Well, yeah, the Eternal Witness. There we go. Because then that'll let us get the fetch. We can put the fetch down and have up a mana. The awkward way is that Eternal Witness just gets you out of situations. It's like, we wanted the land, and now we're getting it. Give me that fetch. Okay. Still stuck behind this Stinkweed Imp. Yes, I'd like to use that ability. Give me a land. And we can draw whatever we draw. Another option would have been just playing the library this turn, but I don't see a point if we don't have to. Trying to think if there's anything else. He's only got 3 cards in the yard, which for him, and 4 cards in hand, that's even worse. Like, this is almost the worst possible situation that he could be in. We will hold off and wait for a swords on that. That is one thing that we are going to do. But I'm actually going to look instead of stealing something. That knight will be handy. The bog is still in the list. White source, green source, black source. Although this guy can't make black. Not without Urborg. And the reason we're not attacking him is simply because we don't want him to dredge something or have 2 things in hand. Like, if we know he's got the underground or the undiscovered paradise, so that's a blue source there. and he's got a blue source here, so he could break through with that. That would get him up to 7 cards in his library. Although if he does that plan, then we're kind of boned anyway. And then he can pop the Coliseum. But if we kill this thing, if we swing with this Witness, they trade, then we have to use this, and we're entirely cold to that plan. Whereas if we wait, we have opportunity to do things. So, for instance, take care of this thing if he goes for it. At the end of this turn, I am going to actually eat that, though, so not a biggie. And whoop, kind of a ground out game. And at this point, we should be 100% golden. I'll take that. I don't have a problem with pulsing this anymore. And that's simply because I'm just going to eat it with the Shaman. I have all of the graveyard stuff pretty much locked up at this point. My Knight can at any point turn the graveyard to 0. That's going to create an issue for him. So, yeah. Something to be happy about. And he should have figured that out by now. If he hasn't, then that's his loss. Batterskull, something I'm not planning on showing him if I don't have to. So, we'll just hold on to it. The less he knows about my list, the better. Other options for things that I can do are, he should assume that I have the Bog at this point. I could play the Pride Mage, pop it at top, and that would get rid of bridges. So we should be... Yeah, I'm tired of saying that. If you haven't figured that part out yet, then yeah, I'm sorry. Nonetheless, this game is over. Anytime that he'd like to concede, I will accept that. Although a lot of people don't concede, and part of that is stubbornness. Part of it, people think it's like, oh, well, you shouldn't expect your opponent to concede. I don't expect him to concede for me. I expect him to concede for him. It is much easier for... I'm trying to decide whether or not I want to swing with all 3 of these or 2. I think I'm going to go get... If I get Goyf, he's a 3-4. I could go get Thrun. Nah, Goyf's fine. Let's do 1, 2... And I want to leave up everything that I can on my side. Oh, okay, good. I didn't hit... I thought I hit okay right there. I was going to say, that is not what I wanted to hit. I'd like to spin top, and there's not going to be too much difference if I leave that up. Yeah, another way to get rid of, like, Arbor's a land, it's a forest, so Knight can sacrifice it. These are all different tricks to fight this deck, which I'm pretty sure most of you have seen already. But there's always that possibility. So we have lethal on the board, and we should be perfectly safe to just kind of go from here. But what I was saying about concession is, it's not about me being like, hey, look, you should concede because I'm winning. It's about me saying you should concede because this is a bad situation for you. You have no outs, and you're stuck in a situation where if we go to time, this will be that deciding time where you screwed up. I'll take the shuffle effect. So you're more so conceding for yourself than you are for me. I don't know if that makes any sense to anyone. We have enough stuff here on that basis, so I just shuffled too. Let's see. We'll take the shuffle effect. I thought I said that already. Might as well look at his hand, see what he's got. We'll get rid of this Narcomoeba. He's got nothing. There are my attackers. You have to block the 1. Wait, 8? He's at 8 life. Let me see, that's game. Almost let that go. There is a huge difference between playing not to lose and playing to win. So had I not gone for that, it would have been playing not to lose. Alright, Dredge. Obvious sideboard addition. Bam. Gaddock Teague, come in. Duress, not as important. Still, I want this. I know that for sure. I'll get rid of the discard. I'm not as worried about it, especially on the draw. Liliana's going to be terrible here. And let's go. I guess, Stronghold over Maze, and that's just simply because it's a mana source. Like, neither one will have a very powerful ability, so I guess there is some argument to saying, hey, look, he could fire blast whatever the one drop red spell that they discard cards to get rid of Teague. He did say good game. I apologize. Let me quick say. I'll say good game at the end. This hand is slow, but I haven't seen anything, and I can land Teague on 2 that should shut down most of the graveyard shenanigans. I don't think I want that. This hand I will keep. I've got first turn, dude, maybe too slow. He could just break through next turn and go off from there. I'd love to top deck the surgical extraction. A Jit will have to work, I guess. This hand is worse than I thought. I forgot that thing costs 1. I forgot that Shaman costs 1. Yeah, we're in rough shape. He gets to pop this next turn, so he may just pull this one out. This hand was terrible now that I look at it, but it's better than the first hand. So let me see. What do we need? He only hit one thing that's relevant. Everything else is dead down there. Let me stop playing inferior. Play in a way that actually matters to what's going on. I'm trying to keep the clock available for you guys as well. Oh, let's see. So he's got the Stinkweed Imp. He's got the Dread Return. I'm assuming he does not have a second land, and if he doesn't, I'm going to go ahead and slam Teague, and that should deal with any Dread Returns. Then we're just... oh, never mind. Moto lag! Let's see. There's... so he drew nothing? Oh, no, he's still dredging. There's Iona. There are 2 of those. 1 bridge. We should be good. As long as he doesn't get something else. Don't see a... I see the Dread Return. I don't see the other thing. Waiting for him to stack that. I'm just going to go ahead and F6. I have no other plays. Our Zenith is going to be dead. I should have used that last turn. That is my mistake. And I will deal with that accordingly. So he's got no way to add another creature right now. Or we could just do that. That's a blowout. And then we'll do this because I screwed up last time. Alright, so how are we going to get past those guys? Well, we're going to pulse those guys. Or do we want to... well, he doesn't get to do anything until next turn, so I think that for right now, I'm going to go ahead and play Teague and Jit. Oh, whatever, doesn't matter which way we do it. We're using all 4. So, yeah, that was blowout. He gets to start discarding. I'm not as worried about it. We have Teague down, so he can't break through. But I think that if he had breakthrough, he would have probably... oh, no, he probably wouldn't have. Although he should have. What's your discard? Stinkweed Imp. There it is. Which, ironically... isn't it ironic? Let me not quote those types of songs. I could let him start doing that and then take care of it then. And I think that that's probably the better call. Let's just get in for 3. I did this the wrong way. I shouldn't be taking 2 damage from that. Any other land combination would have been better at tapping than that. Let's go ahead and get these guys off the field now. So, if he plays a land, we'll nuke the Bloodghast. And then we can pull this back at any point in time with the witness. You played a land. I have not F6'd. Bloodghast. Always remember, click the one in the graveyard first. That way it's gone. Let's see. Win conditions left. He has an Elishnorn, some of these, which won't be that big. 2 Icarids left. Pretty much nothing of interest. This game should be done as well. What's his hand? So, Breakthrough, a Dread Return, a Narcomoeba. So he's got the mana to be able to cast stuff, but he can't do it yet. And by the time that he can, it will be too late. He's got the 2 other things in hand, so I think we'll take that back and strip those out of his hand. That way it's just a little bit less that I have to worry about overall. And we should be pretty much wrapped up at this point. That works too. Here's Nail to Coffin. And oh wait, those aren't there. Cancel. Oh wait, but there's the Narcomoeba. I think he had something else as well. I'm just going to go ahead and land this knight, and we'll make a decision next time. So, counters on Teague. No real way of actually threatening me right now from his side. Still have the Caracas in the deck. I'd say we're pretty much set to go at this point. You guys are just kind of watching me go through the motions of killing him. Library, which will be awesome. Let's see. So this is 6 damage. Could up it to 10. We'll hold off if we need to. We'll do something. But that should be... he should be conceding at this point. Nope. Yeah, you can't Dread Return anything, man. And as far as bridges go, I can always just nuke my own Arbor to stop you from getting things. Yeah. And Teague will stop the breakthrough in your hand. So a little bit of luck pulling out this one from what should have been a terrible hand into what went into being a guaranteed win. I am going to take 4 damage here and keep this wasteland. Bob can do that part. Just in case he drew something that I'm not aware of. But that should be game. He says, good game, good game. Alright, and we'll let that close out. Alright, so that is the Dredge matchup. We'll try and get another one in here shortly. Hopefully we can 3 or 4-0 this daily before we do anything weird. And we'll go from there. Alright, see you in a moment, everybody. Bye-bye.